The engine's in the car. I actually got it in late yesterday evening, but I didn't take a video of it. Everything went pretty smooth except for this engine mount. This is filled with window weld, and it was a new mount, and I've mentioned in the forum that it's not, I don't think it's the best idea to fill these things when they're brand new and them just sitting there, you know, unloaded. Well, that led me to a problem. I could not get the bolt in there because the shaft was too high up, and this was hitting the crossover piece of this. Let me find that. I know it's laying right here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. It's hitting this. This was on there, and I could not get the, you can see the gap that's there. I mean, that's, you know, a good 1/4 inch or more. Where this was just too high. If you look on this side, how much further away it is. You see there, you know, there's where I cut it off. There's where I cut it off. See, this may be turned around backwards, but it's still going to be about basically the same thing. Yeah, see, you can see that big gap. You know, how much I had to, or was going to have to try and get this here down, so that would go in there, because it was hitting this and would not go. You know, that's there to keep it from bottoming out. Or if it does bottom out, it hits this. Is really the only thing it serves a purpose for. So, well, with these filled, they're not going to bottom out, not unless it just fails completely, you know, and tears apart or whatever. So I had to use a grinder, cut this off. And then I used a regular wheel grinder to smooth off the edges, because it was very sharp, of course, because it was cut at an angle, so it made like a razor blade. But anyway, I took care of that, and I put it back on. So the bottom half of this is still on there, so that it's got this thickness, which is only probably an 1/8 of an inch or something total, maybe thereabouts. But still, I wanted it in there because it's got the little slotch for the pin to sit in, and that I didn't want to squeeze this anymore, you know, an extra 1/8 of an inch, although it probably wouldn't hurt nothing, but still, you know, I just cut that off rather than just remove that thing and stuck that on there. Cut this part off and put the bottom part. It's still on there. Yeah, you can kind of maybe be able to see it right there. It's still there. So anyway, that was the only real drawback. This engine mount's filled, and it's okay where it's at, I guess. Maybe you'll be able to see that, I don't know. The light in here is not that great. But you know, that one is okay, I think. No problem. This back one here, this was actually a used one. I really cannot get in there to get a picture of it. But it was a used one. But it was in still very good shape. It hadn't been on one for long. I took it off and put it on the 4-cylinder when the 4-cylinder was in this car, and then I filled it with, I used that construction adhesive on that one, but I went ahead and filled it while I had weight on it, so that it's got this set, you know, the engine setting better. I've mentioned before where, actually I can show it to you. I've mentioned before where I've filled this one with 80 durometer Shore A polyurethane. Let me get it back out here in the light better. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, and this was a new mount that I filled with polyurethane some time back. This was entirely too high. This hole here should be roughly about where my thumb's at right now, and this other hole down here some. This should be almost in the middle, and normally under load it is. Okay, and that's how this one was that I filled here. It had sunk down a little bit, but not much. When it was offloaded, no load on it. It came way up here, almost to as high as this, but not quite. So that's why I put it on. When the 4-cylinder was in this car, I stuck it on there, put the weight of the engine on it, and then filled it and let it set until, you know, weeks until it cured. I mean, I you know, it was no hurry for it. So I just let it sit there, and it sat there for a week or month, or I don't know how long. It was there on there for a while. But that's got it better, you know, in a more natural position. I ran into a problem with my 88Z24, and then my alternator with this mount, because that's what it was for. With this mount, my alternator was darn near hitting the hood. I mean, I put a piece of like 1/4 inch, if even 1/4 inch, maybe not even 1/4 inch styrofoam on top of it, and closed the hood, and you could see the impression of the alternator on it. So that's how close it was. And I was like, no, that ain't gonna work. So I had to, you know, change the engine mount. So that made this one pretty much useless unless I remove all that crap and take the anchor out and put it in a jig. That's exactly what these things need to be done if you really want to do them nice. I mean, I know probably people ain't even messing with these old cars no more, or very few of us. There's still a few, but if you want to do it, I think the best thing to do would be to get the anchor out of it, clean all the stuff out of it. I've posted where I made one that way. I got real lucky and had an old one that the anchor was coming out and the rubber came right off. I just had to clean it up with a little bit of a wheel. I mean, talking inside the case and the anchor. Both of them cleaned up very, very nicely. And I filled them, and they are in, I believe, the 88. Yeah, I think that's the one I put in the 88. That's the ideal way to do it. That way you can set those anchors in a loaded position where it would be under normal engine load, where the weight of the engine's on them, and fill them that way. And then when you put them in, they're going to be in the natural position, and you know, but be solid mounts. And that's definitely the way to go. This one here is just, you know, a little high, but it's not that high, so it's okay. Now this one's fine. It's in a good position there, and so is that back one. So this engine's going to be sitting in here pretty, you know, about like it should, really. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. About to start putting the wiring on it. We've got good access room around it right now, so I'll go ahead and do that before I start adding any of the rest of the accessories and whatnot. Get the wiring harness in it. I had to do some modifying here. Maybe you'll be able to see this. I had to drill these 2 holes because this pass-through is different. I'm getting that in the video or not? Yeah, there we go. It's different. They changed it sometime. I don't know what year. Maybe 91, maybe, or 92, somewhere in there. Could have been 91 with the phase 2. But originally this one just has a screw that goes in it right there. And it sets in, and one screw goes in it. But the new, or second design, whatever you want to call it, has a hole, or a screw here and a screw here. So I drilled my holes in there, no problem, and I'll put some silicone around this, and I'll also caulk in that hole. But yeah, so that really wasn't any kind of setback because this opening is perfect size. It's the right size, same size. They just changed the connector, and now it's got 2 in it, where as opposed to the 1. But okay, so that's no big deal. When I was putting the engine in, darn it, the exhaust, what in the world, there we go, the exhaust hit my box here. I'll take a little bit of paint and touch that up, but other than that, I didn't have any problem. And if I hadn't been doing it by myself, which I did, I could have avoided that altogether, because I'd had somebody over here watching while I was letting the engine down. I was letting it down very, very slowly, but then, you know, I saw it hit her, actually heard it, and you know, the back part stopped moving. I, you know, tightened up the bleeder and closed off, you know, the lift to keep it from going down anymore and walked around here and looked and said, oh shoot, that's what it was. But you know, like I said, no big deal. Anyway, other than that, there was no problem getting it in there. You know, I had so much access room, you know, without a bunch of the accessories on here. So that's where I'm at. I took the grill and all out because I'm gonna put the radiator in through the front here. It's easier to do. That came off real quick and easy. So you know, on these, on the phase ones, they do. Phase two's a little bit more involved, but that will definitely make this job easier. I got the starter on now and the bolts and torque converter. So yeah, hopefully I have all the wires in it today. Maybe depending on keep at it. I don't know. Sometimes I just need to walk away for a while. You know, I've been at it pretty steady for the last few weeks trying to get this thing going. I'm ready to take a break from it for a while, and then get on the interior, and yeah, it won't be too much longer, I don't think. But thanks for watching, and hope you all have a good one. Later.